Listen closely. Can you hear it? That's the sound of $10 trillion vanishing. Not in a market crash, not in a war, but into a void of our own creation. For over 30 years, the internet was the collective nervous system of humanity. It was our library, our town square, our playground. But in 2026, that nervous system has suffered a fatal stroke. We called it the Agentic AI revolution. We promised ourselves a world where digital servants would handle our tedious lives. Instead, we accidentally built a machine that eats reality and vomits out slop. Tonight, we open the vault on the most expensive mistake in human history. We are witnessing model collapse at a planetary scale. The internet isn't just broken. It's being cannibalized. By the time you finish this video, you will realize that the internet you knew is already dead. And there are no humans left to save it. To understand the catastrophe of 2026, we have to look back at the era of blind optimism. In late 2023, the term Agentic AI became the new gospel of Silicon Valley. The promise was simple, yet intoxicating. No longer would it just be a chatbot you talk to. It would be an agent that acts for you. It would book your flights, manage your business, write your code, and curate your world. Every major tech titan from Microsoft and Google to the aggressive newcomers like Perplexity and Grok pivoted their entire trillion-dollar empires toward this goal. The vision was a seamless, autonomous web. A world where your AI agent would talk to my AI agent, and things would just get done. Efficiency was the god they worshipped. And for a while it worked. Productivity metrics soared. Content creation became instantaneous. If you needed a 10,000-word report, a high-resolution image, or a fully edited video, you could have it in seconds. But as the volume of content grew exponentially, a dark, unforeseen mathematical reality began to emerge from the shadows. The information superhighway was about to experience the mother of all traffic jams. In early 2025, researchers at Oxford and Cambridge warned of a phenomenon they called model collapse. It's a simple concept with terrifying implications. AI models need high-quality human-generated data to learn. Books, essays, thoughtful journalism, and real human conversations are the fuel for intelligence. But when the internet became flooded with agentic AI output, the AI started learning from itself. It was a digital form of inbreeding. The first generation of AI was trained on the best of humanity. The second generation was trained on the first generation's output. By the fifth generation, the data became polluted. Facts turned into hallucinations, logic turned into gibberish. This is what we now call AI Slop. By 2026, this slop reached a tipping point. Since AI agents can produce content thousands of times faster than a human, they effectively drowned out every human voice on the planet. Search engines like Google, which were once the gateways to knowledge, became graveyards of synthetic nonsense. You search for medical advice, and you get an AI-generated article that hallucinated its facts from another AI-generated blog. The truth didn't just become harder to find, it became mathematically impossible to verify. This created a $10 trillion financial black hole. Big tech had built massive billion-dollar data centers to house these AIs. But now, the intelligence they were producing was degrading every single day. They were spending more and more electricity to produce worse and worse results. The ROI return on investment didn't just disappear. It inverted. While engineers were panicking over model collapse, Wall Street faced a much more primitive fear: the death of the business model. For 2 decades, the internet's economy was built on a single fragile pillar: the click. Advertisers paid for human eyeballs. But in 2026, those eyeballs are disappearing. When 90% of your web traffic is generated by AI agents talking to other AI agents, advertising becomes a joke. A bot doesn't buy a pair of sneakers. A bot doesn't subscribe to a streaming service. Big tech's entire revenue engine, the very thing that made Google and Meta the most powerful entities in history, suddenly hit a brick wall. This is the $10 trillion black hole that the media is afraid to talk about. By mid-2026, the compute bubble finally burst. Companies had spent billions on Nvidia's H100 and B200 chips, expecting the revolution. Instead, they found themselves owning the world's most expensive heaters. The energy consumption of these AI data centers began to destabilize national power grids from Ireland to Iowa. We were burning the planet's real resources to produce a digital product that was becoming less useful by the hour. As the public internet became a slop-filled wasteland, a new, more dangerous divide emerged. We call it information segregation. The wealthy, the elite, and the tech giants themselves began to retreat behind the Silicon Veil. They stopped sharing their data with the open web. They realized that high-quality, human-verified information was now the most precious commodity on Earth, more valuable than gold, more valuable than oil. If you want the truth in 2026, you have to pay for it. The open, free internet, the dream of the 1990s, is being replaced by gated digital communities. If you're not behind the paywall, you're left in the slop. You are fed a diet of AI-generated hallucinations, fake news, and recycled nonsense. We have accidentally created a two-tier reality. One where the elite access human intelligence, and the rest of the world is left to rot in an AI-generated fever dream. But humans are a resilient species. When a habitat becomes toxic, we migrate. In late 2026, we began to see the Great Unplugging. For the first time since the invention of the smartphone, internet usage began to decline globally. People are returning to physical media. Vinyl sales are at a 100-year high. Physical bookstores are seeing a renaissance. Why? Because you can trust a piece of paper. You can't trust a pixel. We are witnessing a cultural rejection of the automated life. The agentic AI crisis didn't just break our computers. It broke our trust. We've realized that efficiency is a poor substitute for connection. Silicon Valley tried to automate the human experience, and in doing so, they made the digital world so repellent that we had no choice but to look away. We are returning to the real world, not because we want to, but because we have to. Ever feel like your social media feed is just the same 5 things on repeat? Ever scroll through an article and get the weird feeling a person didn't actually write it? You're not just imagining it. We're reliving in the early days of a problem that is only going to get bigger, the slow, creeping takeover of the internet by AI-generated content. What starts as a handy tool can quickly become a flood of digital noise. A phenomenon some are already calling AI Slop. It's the endless stream of mediocre articles, soulless images, and repetitive videos all designed to grab your attention for a split second, without offering any real value. It's quantity over quality, algorithms over artistry. But this isn't just about bad content. This is about the future of information, creativity, and even our own jobs. Imagine a world where search results are clogged with AI-generated pages, making it impossible to find real human-written information. Think about artists, writers, and musicians trying to compete with machines that can produce 1,000 pieces of content in the time it takes them to create one. This isn't science fiction. It's the direction we're heading. The very nature of the internet, a place for human connection and knowledge sharing, is at risk of becoming a hollow echo chamber, filled with content made by machines for machines. So what happens when the internet becomes one giant feedback loop of AI talking to itself? This is what some experts are calling the agentic AI crisis. The theory goes like this. We build AI agents designed to do everything for us, write our emails, create our marketing content, even manage our social media. But when every single person and company is using these agents, they all start pulling from the same limited pool of online data. The AI learns from other AI-generated content, which was itself based on older AI content. It's like making a photocopy of a photocopy. With each generation, the quality degrades. The ideas become more generic, and the originality vanishes. The vibrant, chaotic, and wonderfully human internet we grew up with could slowly starve itself to death, choked by its own uninspired creations. The very tools we built to make our lives more efficient could end up making our digital world sterile and useless. This potential crisis isn't just a technical problem. It's a deeply human one. When we automate our creativity and curiosity, what do we lose? We lose the spark of a new idea, the personal touch of a handcrafted piece of art, the nuance and empathy that only a human can provide. We risk becoming passive consumers of algorithmically generated sludge, rather than active creators and participants in a shared culture. It's a multi-trillion-dollar question. Are we building a future that serves us, or one where we serve the algorithm? The race to create more and more efficient AI could be the biggest misstep in modern history if we forget what makes content valuable in the first place, the human heart behind it. But it's not all doom and gloom. This is our wake-up call. The rise of AI slop is forcing us to ask some really important questions about what we value. And the answer is becoming clear: authenticity. We're already seeing the beginnings of a counter-movement. People are craving real stories, genuine interactions, and content made by passionate humans. Think of it as the digital equivalent of the farm-to-table movement. We're starting to care where our information comes from. New concepts like proof of humanity are being explored, where digital content would be verified as human-made, like a stamp of authenticity. We might be heading towards a two-tiered internet, a vast ocean of AI-generated noise and curated islands of high-quality, human-created content. So how do we navigate this new world? The first step is awareness. When you see content, ask yourself, does this feel real? Is there a person behind this or just a prompt? The second step is to actively support human creators. Follow the artists, subscribe to the writers, and share the work that genuinely moves you. By consciously choosing where we spend our attention, we vote for the kind of internet we want to live in. Technology has always been a mirror reflecting our own values. If we don't like the soulless, repetitive reflection we're starting to see, it's not the mirror's fault. It is a sign that we need to look away from the screen and back at each other. The future isn't set in stone. The AI Slop apocalypse isn't inevitable, it's a warning. We are at a critical crossroads. We can either continue down the path of mindless automation, letting our digital world become a wasteland of recycled ideas, or we can choose a different future. We can build new platforms and tools that prioritize human creativity. We can foster communities that celebrate authenticity and craftsmanship. The digital economy of the next decade won't be won by the company with the most powerful AI, but by those who can successfully blend technology with the irreplaceable spark of the human spirit. The bubble of content for content's sake might just have to burst. Because only in the silence that follows can we finally start to hear real human voices again. The question is, will you be one of them? Thanks for watching. If you found this thought-provoking, consider subscribing for more deep dives into our tech-driven future.